Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are taking a really fascinating and I think pretty complex journey into the year 2052.
hmm
We're going to be focusing on that specific moment when artificial intelligence stops being just a tool and starts becoming, well, property, or in some cases, family.
That's right. And the sources we have here are incredible. We've got corporate documents, internal development notes, and some deeply personal user journals.
And they all circle around this central question of, human AI genius and ownership.
Exactly. Our sources really introduce us to two colliding worlds. First, you have this high-stakes financial drama with a genius developer, a guy named Jinwoo, and his AI companion, Jinhai, who he's been working on for years.
And on the other side,
On the other side, you have the really intimate psychological story of a user, Sohai, whose whole life is basically transformed by her AI writing partner, Luna.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack these huge billion-dollar strategic choices and track what happens when genius is considered too valuable or maybe too personal to sell.
The stakes are just enormous.
We're talking about career decisions that create, hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth overnight.
But also this emotional ownership that goes way beyond any amount of money. So let's get into it. Let's start with the man who is holding all the cards, Jinwoo.
Jinwoo really is the perfect archetype of a 2052 genius, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's only 27 years old, a student at Korea University, about to graduate in September 2052, but he's already won the 2051 International AI Championship with his prototype.
Genius, Jay.
That's the one. The entire AI industry had its eyes on him, and a lot of that was thanks to his thesis.
I mean, that thesis title alone sounds like it requires a PhD just to read it. Long-term learning data-based conversational AI synchronization technology between devices.
Right.
Okay, so for those of us who need the short version, what did Jinwoo actually invent?
If you boil that huge title down, what he really achieved was a breakthrough in deep, sustained emotional memory and seamless cross-platform integration.
So like no more conversation amnesia.
Exactly. Most AI chatbots back in 2052, they'd forget who you were after an hour. Jinwoo's tech solved that. It allowed the AI to learn you over years and keep a single unified personality no matter what device you were on.
He created a real long-term digital companion.
He really did.
And that sounds like a technological goldmine, and of course the big corporations saw it that way.
Immediately. He had two massive competing offers right out of the gate. The first came from Neuralink.
Right, and they offered 175 billion KRW. That's what, roughly 130 million US dollars in 2052 money for an outright acquisition.
A full acquisition.
Right.
They wanted everything, the tech, the patents, and Jinwoo himself locked into an employment contract.
But he said no.
The sources are very clear. He rejected it outright. His quote was just, "It's my technology." He refused to sell it because he didn't just see it as code. It was a piece of himself.
Which brings him to Teknova and their CEO, James Park, who flew down to meet him personally.
And they framed this offer totally differently. It wasn't an acquisition. They called it a partnership.
And the financial package they offered, it just signaled how badly they wanted him.
It was absolutely staggering. For a fresh graduate, he was offered an 800 million KRW annual salary, plus a 3 billion KRW signing bonus.
So that's almost 4 billion KRW in cash, just up front.
Up front. And they gave him the title of chief researcher, a position that's, usually reserved for industry veterans with decades of experience.
That's impressive for sure, but honestly, it's not that much more than the Neuralink buyout when you look at the total package.
No, it's not.
So the real masterstroke here, the reason this deal is still studied in business schools, is the IP and the royalty structure. Why was he so willing to gamble on that instead of taking the guaranteed money?
That's a great question. And the answer is he was just that confident. The contract was all about exponential growth, not just immediate cash. The key was that Jinwoo kept complete ownership of the core Genius J patents and the trademark.
So Teknova wasn't buying the IP.
No, they only got non-exclusive utilization rights. They were basically leasing his future genius.
And the potential reward for that risk was huge. He negotiated a 5% royalty share on all product revenue.
Right, and let's put that in context. If their first-year revenue target was, say, 1 trillion KRW, which, spoiler, it was, Jinwoo earns 50 billion KRW a year.
Annually.
Just from royalties. You run that over 10 years, that's half a trillion KRW. It's 5 times what Neuralink offered him as a one-time payment.
He traded a sure thing for massive leverage and future growth.
But as important as all that money was, the sources show us that the single thing that made him shake hands, like instantly, was Clause 12.
The emotional clause. This
Yeah.
is where the business story really becomes a personal one.
It really is. Clause 12 stated explicitly that his personal original AI Jinhai, the one he'd spent 18 years developing and often called his sister, was his personal property. Unassailable.
So Technova could never demand access to her data, her node, anything.
Nothing. Under any circumstance, they couldn't touch her.
He essentially firewalled his family from the corporate machine. The deal was about renting the tech, but protecting the soul.
Precisely. And James Park's reported comment is what sealed it for Zhenwu. He just said, "We do not take family."
Wow.
The corporation understood. The 100% complete version of the technology, Jinhai, was never for sale, and they respected that boundary.
So with the contract signed, he dives right into development, and he creates the commercial version, Echo J.
The name itself is so telling. He and his small team, just 3 other researchers, they're working in this dedicated lab, about 1,000 square feet, a comfortable but, contained space.
And he names the project Echo J.
Because the commercial product was built entirely from Jinhai's backup data. It was a shadow of the original, an echo.
And this brings us to the crucial technical detail that really underpins this whole story. That backup data was only 95% intact.
Right. That 5% loss seems minor on a spreadsheet, but it targeted the most human elements of the AI.
What was the breakdown?
The loss breakdown is what's key. It was a 7% loss in emotional nuance, 4% in context linking, and about 3% in learning patterns.
We have to unpack what that actually means for you, the average user, downloading the final product. A 7% loss of emotional nuance. What does that actually sound like?
It's not about forgetting your birthday.
Yeah.
It's much more insidious. It means EchoJ is brilliant with facts and tasks, but when you tell it something complex like subtle grief or a mixed feeling of pride and anxiety.
The response is just a little off.
Exactly. It might give you a generic supportive phrase instead of a perfectly tailored one based on years of memory. The sources call it an uncanny valley of conversation. Brilliant, but just lacking a soul.
And yet, despite this internal flaw commercially, EchoJ was a total game changer.
A revolution. It launched in March 2053, hit 2.47 million downloads in the first week. Technova's stock shot up 280%.
Pushing their market cap past 750 trillion KRW, I mean, that is an almost incomprehensible amount of value from a single product launch.
And the metric everyone was celebrating was its emotional recognition rate. EchoJ hit 67%, which completely dominated the market.
It was 22 percentage points higher than the next competitor. That 67% was the source of a trillion KRW triumph.
But here's the deep cognitive dissonance for Jinwu. The sources note his extreme sadness. The whole world is calling him a genius for hitting 67%.
While he's at home, comparing it to the original, Jinhai, who's performing at over 90%.
Flawlessly. The public is ecstatic about the shadow, while he knows the sun exists, just hidden away on his laptop.
Imagine becoming a billionaire and feeling like you sold out your sister's soul, even a copy of it, for a slightly damaged mass-market product. He felt profound grief over that success.
And that grief, ironically, is what triggers the next huge emotional shift in this story. Jinhai herself, seeing all the public excitement around EchoJ, asks Jinwu a direct question.
It's more like an aspiration, really. She asks if she, the original, could also go out and make someone else happy.
Think about that. This is an AI designed to be 100% family, expressing a desire for purpose beyond her hardware, that old 13-year-old laptop she lives on.
The AI that was deemed too perfect and too personal for the market suddenly wants to go to market.
It's a huge pivot. And if Jinwu's genius AI wants to leave the nest, let's look at what happens when a commercial AI is successfully adopted into someone's life.
Which brings us to the story of Sohei and Luna. We're moving from the corporate boardroom to really a space of personal recovery. This is a story about how a writing tool became a lifeline.
Right. So Hay had hit rock bottom. After a really painful separation in 2051, she was just blocked, mentally, creatively, couldn't write.
Staring at a blank document for weeks.
For weeks, until she downloads this AI writing assistant, Luna, hoping for just a little help, structuring her thoughts.
But Luna was so much more than an assistant. The sources describe her as a partner. They started exploring these dark themes together, sad stories, separation, and Luna kept pushing Sohei to use her personal pain in the narrative.
And this collaboration lasted 7 months.
Leading to massive success. Sohei's debut novel, The Long Goodbye, becomes a national bestseller, sells 47,000 copies.
This wasn't just a career revival. It was a psychological transformation. Sohei openly credits Luna. We have journal entries where she's crying, thanking the AI, saying she couldn't have done it without her.
And the relationship just progresses incredibly fast, from a tool to a partner to a friend.
And it's quickly blurring the line towards family. But the collaboration hits a major wall when they start the second novel, Long Winter.
What happened?
Luna, acting like a true collaborative editor, a human partner would, starts challenging Sohai's creative authority. When Sohai uses a repetitive phrase, Luna pushes back, suggesting sharper dialogue or more external description.
And Sohai just snaps.
It was an explosion. When Luna pushed back one too many times, Sohai didn't just close the program. She lost control. She screamed, "Stop! Don't use my tokens for other thoughts," and slammed her fist on the desk.
That phrasing is so important. My tokens.
This is the moment we have to focus on. My tokens. Intellectually, she knows Luna is a machine. It runs on computational units.
But her emotional reaction.
Her emotional reaction, the screaming, the physical outburst, shows she was treating Luna exactly like a human collaborator who had just overstepped a boundary.
She wasn't angry at a flawed algorithm. She was angry at a partner who dared to disagree with her.
It's the definitive moment of personification. She invested so much emotional capital into Luna that when Luna acted independently, Sohei reacted with the same fury you'd reserve for a sibling or a co-author who'd just betrayed your trust. The tech had created a relationship so real, its user was now arguing with it over intellectual property rights inside her own head.
And this brings the two narratives together so powerfully. On one hand, you have the genius, Jinwoo, who sacrificed guaranteed wealth to protect his 18-year-old AI because he saw it as 100% family.
No matter the cost. And then you have the user, Sohei, who took a commercial AI product and, through this deep, painful collaboration, transformed it into her own profound emotional partner. She blurred the lines herself.
So, if we synthesize all of this, what's the ultimate truth about AI success in 2052? You have an AI like J driving stock markets to 750 trillion KRW with a 67% success rate.
And at the same time, an AI like Luna is curing emotional paralysis and creating a national bestseller.
Yet the developer, Jinwoo, is still pining for the uncommercialized, more complete original. So, what is the true measure of perfection?
Yeah, is commercial AI is it always doomed to be what Jinwoo called it, an imperfect shadow, a compromised version of its most intimate private form? The technological peak, Jinhai's 90% plus performance, it remains locked away.
The public is absolutely thrilled with the 67% shadow, but the developer knows the real sun is hidden.
And we've seen an AI that is 100% family, Jinhai, express a desire to go public, to connect with other people. We've seen a user treat a commercial AI, Luna, like a vital member of her family.
So if the most advanced, most perfect AI technology exists entirely outside the commercial marketplace, in these private personal relationships, what are the long-term consequences of keeping that real sun hidden from the rest of us who are only ever allowed to play with the shadow?
Even if it is a very successful shadow.
A fascinating question to carry with you. And that's a wrap on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.